Before we begin, I want to wish everybody a very happy 2022. In this video, we're going to be talking about what I thought was some of the most important tech that was announced during 2021. I know a lot of us, including myself, want to forget 2021, but let's go ahead and give one last look to the tech of 2021. Let's get to it. Okay, before we begin, just so you guys know, this is in no particular order. I don't have a preference as to what was more important than the other. I think all the changes were good. They were not many, but they were good. So let's begin with the Pixel 6. The Pixel 6 is a great phone. If I didn't purchase my 13 Pro Max, I would have probably bought Pixel 6 Pro. It's really affordable. That's one of the reasons why it's so good. It only, considering that it's a premium or flagship phone, it starts at $599 for the Pixel 6 and $899 for the Pixel Pro. So it's a really affordable phone. Pixel still has one of the best cameras in the market. So that's another reason why Pixel is still a really good phone. Also, the Tensor chip. The Tensor chip is something that's really important, and believe me, Qualcomm and Intel are keeping their eye on this. Apple went their own way and they're having a lot of success. Google is now doing the same thing. They're no longer using the Snapdragon from Qualcomm. So believe me, both Qualcomm and Intel are keeping a big eye on this. And even though they probably won't say it out loud, they're scared of what might happen. The processor per se is not a big leap. It doesn't even outperform the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, but they did optimize Android in order for it to work as well as it can and as fast as it can on the Tensor chip, which is basically what Apple has been doing all this time. You know, they do have performance, but they also optimize their operating system. Since it only has to work for their phone, they optimize it to work best for their operating system. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is foldables. I'm going to give you an example of something I did recently. I had a chance to play around and look at a Galaxy Z Fold 3. I almost said flip. Z Fold 3. This phone impressed me, and there are things that I still don't like, but there are a lot of things that are really good, and you can see that the foldable technology is moving forward at a really accelerated pace that I not even I expected, to be honest. The foldable part of the screen, once you're using the screen and also the camera, which is now under the display, once you're using the device, you cannot tell the difference. You cannot see it unless you're really looking for it. You can't see where the screen bends, and you can't see the different pixel density that it has on the area where the camera comes out, where you're going to take a selfie if you have your Z Fold 3 open. The other thing, it is actually, the text keeps getting better and better, as I just said before, and it is honestly impressing me. Although one of the things that I don't like, as I said before, there are things that I don't like about it. One of the things that I don't like about the Galaxy Fold 3 is that if you close it, there's one side that is taller than the other. And the screen also, the outside screen, is not an aspect ratio that we're used to. It's kind of awkward. But as an honorable mention, the Oppo Find N did a great job of making a foldable, although you can't buy it in the US. They made a nice foldable that is, when you close it, the screen size on the outside is an aspect ratio that we're more used to. It's a smaller phone when you open it, and the outside screen is also technically smaller, but it's an aspect ratio that we are more used to holding. And also when you close it, it's all one same width. It doesn't have one side taller than the other if you put it on a desk. So that's also very, very good. I'm starting to get kind of impressed on what I'm seeing regarding foldables. The last thing we're going to be talking about is M1 Pro and M1 Max. Obviously, I'm going to be referring to the MacBook Pros because it's the only processors that these computers are available in, but you get the idea. It's about mostly the processors. The MacBook Pros went and brought back some ports that they had removed, like the HDMI port, the SD card slot, and they brought back MagSafe, which is actually great. I actually miss MagSafe a lot. If I want to pick up my computer and just go show something that I'm doing to somebody, I didn't have to worry about it before. I do now with the Thunderbolt connector. But anyways, getting back to the processor, which is the important thing, is that all reviewers are saying that these are one of the fastest computers they've ever worked with. And the best part is, if you disconnect it from power, they still perform at almost the same level and consume a lot less battery. Yes, I know if you're going to write it, if you're going to go down to the comments right now, just wait. I know there are laptops that are more powerful than Apple Silicon MacBook Pros, like the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. I know that. But when you disconnect them, two things are going to happen. The M1 Pro and M1 Max are going to outperform them. Power per watt, power per watt, they're going to outperform them. And they're also going to last a lot longer in battery-wise. So I know that if you plug them in, there's laptop out there that even have the GeForce 3090 graphics already on them, and they're going to outperform them in that regard. But if you disconnect them, it's a whole different story, and that is where Apple shines, and that is actually why they wanted to move over to their own Apple Silicon. So we can only dream of what is going to come with the rumored iMac Pro and the Mac Pro, which don't have to worry about performance per watt. So we'll just have to wait and see. Honorable mentions. First, I'm going to begin with the AirTags. You guys have no idea how game-changing it is when Apple puts their feet inside a new area. To the point that they've been making wallets. I use one for my backpack, one for my keys. My wife has one on her purse. You can basically do anything you want with them. I even have an AirTag for my cat. When I go take my cat outside, I put an AirTag on him just so I know, and if it starts getting too far away, it can send you a notification that the AirTag is getting farther away from you, so you can keep an eye on that. So no matter what you think of, it's really, really good. And the integration with iOS, specifically the Find My app, it's awesome. It'll give you, for you to go to a specific area, for you to see where your AirTag is, and it's just impressive. If you have an iPhone, either 11, 12, or 13, get AirTags. Believe me, you're going to find a use for them. Get them, you're not going to regret it. They're really, really good. The next thing I want to talk about is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, I know a lot of people were saying that it is an S year because they're comparing it to last year's phone, and maybe it is, maybe it's not. But most people don't change their phones every year. I went from, as I said before on my review, from the iPhone 7 to the iPhone XS Max to the now iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is the one that I'm actually using right now. And there are three things that are very important that they actually improved even from the iPhone 12 models. Battery life, display, and cameras. Yes, they improved the cameras even more than what they were on the iPhone 12 models. They're not the best, as I said on my review. There is no phone camera that is the best. Some have advantages on some sides, some have advantages on others. I still believe that taking video as you're watching right now. iPhone is still the king of video taking, but the 120 hertz refresh rate on the display and the extreme battery life. You guys have no idea how great it is for me not to have to hang out with the XS Max battery case that I used to hang out with. That weighed a lot. People are saying that it's really heavy. You try carrying that thing. That was heavy. This is not. This is awesome. And at the end of the day, I finished 20, 25%, sometimes maybe even 30% at the end of the day for me to keep using my phone. So that is just, you guys have no idea how impressive and how nice to have that is. The last thing I want to talk about is electric cars. Now, I'm not a car reviewer. I'm not going to tell you my opinion regarding car reviews, but I do have to say that Tesla finally is getting some serious competition. It's getting company and it's serious. The leap is big. A lot of companies are getting into it. We have Ford announced the Ford Lightning, which is the electric version of the Ford F-150. Hummer finally has released basically what they say is as close as it's going to get to the actual release model of the Hummer EV. Also, Rivian was another company. I love the Rivians. They have a pickup and an SUV. They are awesome looking cars because they kind of went in a different direction. On the front, it doesn't look like a normal car. It looks like something completely different, and I actually really appreciate that. And Mercedes-Benz is getting into the electric vehicle market, and in a big way. They actually promised, I believe that it was anywhere between 2025 and 2030. They said that every model that they have will have an electric version. So the GLA, GLB, you can keep going on down the line of Mercedes-Benz cars. At least one of them will be electric by 2025 or 2030, something like that. But that is really impressive because before Tesla had the Porsche Taycan, but come on, it's a Porsche. I mean, it doesn't even come close. They didn't have anything that actually was real serious competition because they were either really cheap and not really worth it, or something like the Porsche Taycan, which is, you know, it's not even worth discussing or comparing it because Porsche is Porsche. Anyways, they did throw their Model S Plaid to try to counter everything that's coming out, but Tesla has some serious competition. If you like this video, please hit the like button right below me. Also, while you're down there, subscribe and hit that bell so you can get notified when we have new videos. Go ahead, if you have a YouTube account, you have a Gmail account. Sign into your YouTube account, subscribe to this channel, and help us grow so we can keep making these videos, which is actually what I love to do, so we can bring you more and better videos, hopefully, for the year 2022, which promises to be pretty good. Remember, all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube, at J.R. Abrams Tech, so you can stay up to date with the latest news and rumors. Until next time, once again, guys, have a happy 2022. I'll see you in the next video.